Hello friends, welcome to my channel Beginners SAP Guide. Today we are going to discuss the SAP Basis Technical Overview Part 4, which is the continuation of my last video. So let's start with the video. So what is message server? It is used by different application servers to exchange data and internal messages. Use messages such as update and batch job starts between application servers, and an SAP system with any number of application server has only one message server. So message server can only be one. Let's move on. Now gateway server. It allows communication between R3 or R2 system and external applications, as I said in my last video also. Then exchanges large amount of information between application servers. Gateway can decide on any of the connected systems. It doesn't matter that it will be connected in particular system and it will be there only. It can be in any system, and one gateway for each SAP instance. Whatever instance we'll be having for SAP, we will carry and will maintain one gateway so that it can communicate with different servers. Next is work process. So number of work process can only be changed after restarting the system. If we want to change the work process number, we can change it after only restart the system. I'll come with the practical sessions for that, so stay tuned for that. And it should have at least two dialog work processes. Need to have at least one V1 and V2 process, and number of processes, spool processes, and number of spool processes cannot be changed. Whatever spool process we have, accordingly, if we change the number of other processes, only then spool process will be updated accordingly. Let's move on. This I am not going to discuss because I have already been discussed this in my last video. So just for your information and just for your idea, you can have the idea how it is happening. So let's move on. This is a data flow, actually what is happening. So first is end user log into the desired SAP system. It can be development system, maybe quality system, or maybe production system. They are logging through SAP GUI. Then what will happen? Logon groups defined in a system will connect to the message server, and based on the load distribution, accordingly as the load will be distributed, it will direct the request to the appropriate dispatcher. It can be background, it can be NQ, it can be spool, whatever work process it will be, accordingly it will be decided. Now once the user is assigned to the dispatcher, user remains with the same dispatcher until logged out. That means until the whole process will be completed with that particular dispatcher, user will be stayed with that particular dispatcher. The next, the dispatcher will pick up the request and distribute to the work process. If the work processes are occupied, then they are gathered in a queue. That means, so dispatcher 1 is assigned to the user. If the user is actually working with that particular dispatcher, then other user has to wait in a queue, so that once that user work is already been completed, then only it will be freed for the next. So let's move on. Now the work process executes above an SAP delivered program. Then work process will connect to the underlying relational database via database interface. The database interface converts OpenSQL or native SQL through the underlying relational database and gets the requested data. Now after that, the data is sent back to the end user. Next, now come to the profile of SAP. What are the SAP profiles we have to maintain while using the system? So SAP profiles are OS file, operating system files, that contain SAP instances setup information. Here we are actually maintaining the setup information of SAP system. These files are installed as a part of SAP system installation. While we install this system, automatically it will be installed. The SAP system uses profile parameters at the startup. That means we have three profile parameters which are going to discuss right now. We have to maintain in that particular system. There are three types of profiles. One is start profile. This will define which SAP services will be started. For example, message server, dialog, gateway, NQ. So once you start the SAP system, this profile will decide which system to be started, and along with that particular services should be started while you start the system. Let's move on. Second is default profile. Now this will be defined as profile parameters applicable for all the instances in the system. That means it's common for all the SAP system. For example, the name of the database host or the name of the host which is message server is running. So these are maintained by default profile. Next is instance profile. Now here it defines the profile for the specific instance. Now we have, say we have instance name SA1, another instance name SA2. So that name and all these profile parameters will be maintained by this instance profile, which allows individual application servers to configure differently for specific tasks and users. So let's move on. Now these are the example and this is the figure of SAP profiles, how it is done. So this is the format to write the start file. If you log on to the system, you'll get to know when we'll start the practical videos, we'll get to know how the profile is going to be started and how it is happening into the system. So this is the format: start, then instance, then particular instance number will be there, and then host name. That means your particular system name should be there here, and instance name we have to put here, then instance number and along with the start. Next is global parameters that apply to all instances, that is default.pfl. We'll see the location also of this profile. Next is parameters to apply to one instance, that is first system ID, then instance number, and then host number. This is the format to write it. Next, now starting SAP system, how it is happening. To log on to the Unix system as SAP administrative user, you have to first log in as SAP SID, that means SAP system ID, and then admin ADM you have to write. Say for example DV ADM, that means development system and ADM user, where SAP SID is DV and the enter command as a startup, how to start the system, that is DB. Either you write DB to start the database, R3 to start the SAP system only, and all for starting the database, at the same time SAP from your SAP SID ADM user account home directory. That means you have to come to the particular home directory of the user and then you have to start it. This is a part of Unix and Linux. You will get to know when we come into it. Where DB start the database system, R3 start the instances and associated profile process of R3 system, and then all starts both database system and the R3 system. All is default and can be omitted also. It is up to you. Next, now shutting down the system. Now if we shut down the system, we have to do the same thing in a backwards. That means for Unix system we have to give then again SAP SID ADM, say DEV ADM, where you have to start SAP SID equals DEV, SAP SID equals DEV, and enter the command to stop SAP. It was start SAP. If we go to the previous one, it was start SAP. This one is stop SAP, and then same DB R3 all, whatever our requirement is, you have to put like that. So these are the same statements. Next, how the transaction is processing through SAP system. So first, presentation layer or presentation server come into play through SAP GUI. User is putting one T code or transaction, we can say. Then it will come to the dispatcher. Dispatcher will decide what type of transaction and work process should be involved with that particular transaction. Then what will happen? Once the work process will be decided, what type of T code is there being used through the user, then it will first load the system to the buffer to see whether that particular information is available in the buffer. If it is there into the buffer, it will take that information and again through dispatcher it will get back to the SAP GUI. If it is not available over here, it will come down to SAP SQL database. Now from here again it will be copied to that particular buffer. Now after this buffer again it will go back to SAP GUI. That's the process. Next, now this is the way how I have shown the communication way. This is the way it is communicating with the user and the system. You can see. Move on next. Now other interface we are using through SAP also, like application link enabled interface that links different SAP systems and external application systems. We are call it as application link enabled. Next, now come to the basic functions of BASIS. those who are basis consultant are going to be basis consultant, their functions. So first is hardware database administration, user security administration, client maintenance, change and transport system, online service system, performance monitoring and tuning. These are the basic functions. Next is hardware and database administration, hardware upgrade, adding memory or servers, database backup recovery, database optimization, disaster recovery. These are all hardware database administration. Next, user administration. In that case, user administration you'll be finding create users and assign profiles, modify, lock, unlock users, develop authorizations and profiles. All this stuff will come into play. Then client maintenance, create client, copy, export, import, delete, modify. All this stuff will come up. Next, how the CTS working. So correction and transport system, that means change in transport system or correct transport system, whatever you say, it is how it is maintained. First is development system, where we develop the changes request required, then a change request will be generated, that request will come to the quality system, then quality system approval should be required from your higher weight management authority, then they will approve the request. After that it will come to the production system, where the system change actually been implemented. So let's move on. So after that we'll come to the online service system, which is called as OSS. Now after that we'll come into the online service system, which is called as OSS. Now OSS is a set of SAP online services such as bug fixes, useful information, implementation information, OSS note, hot packs, patches, remote connection, whatever you say. Those kind of part we'll find in help.sap.com, or we have to log in through SAP portal. NetWeaver portal is there. There we have to log in and to find out how it is happening. Next, performance monitoring and tuning. Here we need to check database usage and storage capabilities, then dialog response time, investigate our short dumps, whatever errors is happening through our program, that we have to find out, and optimize performance characteristics, how to optimize the system. Next, computer center management system, that is CCMS. We call it a central management system. How it is happening? Manages entire system, database, application, operating system in a single go. Collection of tools, utilities which allows you to monitor and manage the R3 system, allows the monitor and multiple R3 systems, comes free with the SAP system. That means CCMS, this decode is already been free to the SAP system. If we log into the SAP system, if we run this decode, we'll get it. That's all for today, friends. We'll come back to you very soon with another video. Thanks for being with me. Thank you for your support and love. If you like my channel, please do share, subscribe and comment, and don't forget to press the notification bell button, so that whenever I post the new video, you'll get it as soon as I'll post it. So thank you so much. We'll meet soon.